make sure we start our stream. I was trying to do two things at once. That was challenging. Manny Gonzalez from Charles Garland and Harris Agency. Manny, what's up?
Good morning, everybody, and good morning to the Tularosa Valley, the greater Alamogordo, Holloman Metroplex. It's game day.
There it is. It's homecoming as well. Brian Smicet from First National Bank. Brian, what's up, buddy?
Excellent. It's great to be here.
Happy to have you. To it. All right. Brandon Burling from Desert Sun Auto Group, who's very busy with their big fairground sale. What's up, buddy?
Well, I'm excited. It is homecoming for our Tigers, and I think it's homecoming for Tularosa as well. So, it is a great day in the Tularosa Basin, and glad to be here, and wish all of our hometown teams good luck tonight.
And up in the mountains, rivalry game between Cloudcroft and Mescalero. So should be pretty fun stuff all across the area tonight. Tim Brock from Christ Community Church and officiating tonight's Alamogordo Chaparral game, so he will not be picking that game with us.
I will abstain, yeah.
You will abstain from that one. So
yeah, and I just officiated a wedding, so that's the life of a pastor and an official, is officiating all sorts of things. So yeah, good to be here. Sorry for all the people who thought this was going to be Stephen A. Smith. You let that slip, man. I was driving, I was like, oh yeah, Stephen A. Smith's going to be on the radio. I was like, no, wait, I'm going to be on the radio.
You're going to be on the radio, yes.
A B quality compared to Stephen A, but that's okay.
We're not coast to coast across 200 some odd radio stations like Stephen A is. So, Jake Roberts from Caldwell Banker, Seth Nelson. Jake, what's up, buddy?
Having a great day.
Yeah,
fantastic weather, loving it.
All right, it should be a great day, and we're looking forward to it. As for the standings, Tim and myself, pretty good week last week, 13-3. So, I'm trying to keep pace with you, Tim.
The Broncos almost pulled that off, and then I would have really had a comfortable 2-game lead on you.
Yeah. It was going. There were a couple of games. The Ohio State-Penn State game was another one that you probably should have had. I think you picked Penn State, didn't you?
I did not.
No, you picked Ohio State?
I did.
I went Penn State.
Okay, Jake went Penn State in that one. So did Brian.
I felt really good about that.
We're going to figure out. Brian either went 12-4 or 11-5 last week, so we'll figure out which one was the correct one after the show. So make sure we got that correct. Manny 11-5. That's a pretty good week. Not what you want. You strive for perfection every week, right, Manny?
All I care about is the Tigers, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and the Oakland Raiders. Everything else is peripheral.
There you go. And Brandon 10-6 last week. Again, probably want better, but not bad.
Yeah, I went out on a limb there, picked a few teams like the Browns and stuff like that, what good games they were, but just fell short by 3 points.
Yeah, the Browns game especially, you nearly had.
Some good games.
And you probably should have had the Indy game if it wasn't for your head coach.
Yeah, well,
we
were just talking about it would have been nothing. So, we were talking about that earlier about these new overtime rules, and that's why I'm just having a hard time seeing what the advantage is there. And when you think about it, initially you want to say he made a bad call, but what that rule is what difference does it make? You go for it to try to continue with the game, or you what do you do? Like what choice do you have? And when you think about it that way, it wasn't necessarily a bad call because.
Well, you talk about a 20-yard difference in between people praising Matt Vrabel or Mike Vrabel for the Tennessee Titans and him going for it on 4th and 2 on the Eagles side of the field in the 40 compared to going for it on your own 40-something yard line for Frank Reich. And of course, the big difference is one guy's team made it and the other one didn't. So.
Well, and that's how we do this anyway. It's all the what happened. You're a genius if it works. You're a terrible coach if it doesn't. So
Yeah, and Jake took some shots last week. Didn't quite pan out. 8-8 last week, but I appreciate Jake. He tries to make the show interesting. tries to go out there and make some differing picks. So
Charles is just making me feed my ego after I cried all last week. At home on Sunday in the fetal position going, why?
Your fantasy teams made you feel a little bit better about it, so. Yeah, a little bit. All right, let's get to tonight's game. Chaparral Lobos come in to play the Alamogordo Tigers. It is homecoming. If you want to see the parade, it's at 3 o'clock. It'll start on Cuba Avenue and go west on 10th Street. Both teams looking for their first win. Chaparral is considerably taking a step back from last year. They were 6-4 team. They graduated a lot of their size that they had last year. They've still got some talented kids at skill positions. Was talking to Coach this week and talked about Cesar Chavez, the running back for Deming, who was just so fast in that Deming game last week. Won the 100 in the 5A last year. This week we get the kid who was number 2 in the 5A in state last year, and Abel Martinez for Chaparral. So certainly some speed on that Chaparral side of the field tonight. But the Lobos have had a tough year, and teams that they beat or competed better against last year, they just haven't really had a good run against. Tigers, last week, I don't think they win the game, but I think they are far more competitive. It's kind of similar to what we saw in the Ruidoso game, just in terms of a shootout. If penalties and turnovers don't hurt them, they moved the ball well last week. So there was some improvement, I think, from what we saw in the Lovington and the Santa Teresa games. And, it's at home, it's homecoming, and I feel like this is the first bad team I think Alamogordo's played all year. I think everybody else they've played has been solid, and this is the first team that I feel like has had a bad year. So I feel like a lot of that's just kind of making excuses. I'm not trying to, but I think it's a legitimate way to look at what Alamogordo's season has been up to this point. Manny?
I hope my research isn't fake news, but what I learned was that Chaparral has only scored 30 points in these first 5 games, giving up 177 points. Therefore, this is the Charles Garland and Harris 5-star lead pipe lock of the week. The Alamogordo Tigers get their first victory.
All right. Brian?
The one thing that I pretty positive is that one of these teams is actually going to come out of here with a win. That's about it. They're going to take that bagel off their record.
Let's hope the weather.
I'm just thinking, man, if I say that and it comes out as a tie, and it looks like I'm really bad.
The weather.
With that being said, homecoming day, I think I'm going with the Tigers. Along with my new Tiger shirt, I have to go with the Tigers.
Yeah, Brian's looking very sporty. He's got tonight First National Bank on one side, the Tiger logo on the other. Looks good. Brandon, how about you, buddy?
I've picked Alamogordo a few times and hasn't worked out for me, but I am pretty sure that Alamogordo is going to come away with their first win in a long time.
Yeah,
I think tonight's the night that they get that win. I think, and I hope that brings that excitement to the whole entire Tiger organization to continue with those wins. Tigers.
Yeah, 2016, the playoff game over, I think it was Del Norte, was the last win for the Tigers. They lost Artesia and then, of course, lost all 10 last year and then have lost the first 6 this season.
All right. I know I can't pick, but I do want to say something about the whole high school games tonight. All right. So the Bible tells us that in a multitude of counselors there's safety. I apply that to my life spiritually, relationally, and I follow that recreationally with picking these games. So I contact the greatest high school sports minds in Otero County, Bill Guthrie, Charlie Devine, every Friday morning. They give me their guesses on these high school games. They were completely divided today. So you pick good games.
Okay.
They usually it's like, we're all on the same page. We'll go with the favorites. They were all over the map. So I am confused. My counsel is not giving me clarity today. So I'm worried that this might be the week because of my guys going to knock me off the pedestal a little bit. So I'm ready to be humbled.
Okay. Very good. That was good stuff. Jake, how about you, buddy? I don't know if you follow.
I'm really confused as to who Tim's going to be humbled by. I still didn't really get a good grasp on which way he was going on that. So anyway, that's all awesome.
Well, and there's a reason why he's not.
I understood. So yeah, I drove by last night and I happened to see that big, massive bonfire, and so I think that's going to get the kids excited. I think they're going to have some fire in their eyes. I want to see Alamogordo take homecoming and come away with a win. They need it.
I think the Tigers are the better team. I think this is the first time I can sit here and say I feel like Alamogordo's the better team. I could usually sit there and say that they could be competitive. Tonight, I think they're the better football team. And I think Coach has been getting a lot of compliments from coaches talking about how much this team has improved from last year to this year. They're a little snake-bitten, but, and with district coming up, they got to get this win tonight because Roswell and Goddard and Artesia are having very good seasons and are very good football teams. But Tigers will win tonight. I like Alamo at home against Chaparral. All right, Hatch Valley going to Tularosa. It's homecoming for the Wildcats as well. They have their parade, I believe, at 1 o'clock if you want to check that out in Tularosa. The Bears come in at 1-4. The Wildcats are 3-3. They beat Hagerman 36-0 last week. Hatch off a bye. They've had a tough schedule. They've played some good teams this year. They beat Estancia to begin the year. They've lost to Ruidoso, Eunice, Dexter. Ruidoso, I think, is 2 or 3 in Class 4A. Eunice is number 1 in 2A. Dexter has been number 1 in Class 3A. West Las Vegas is maybe their most questionable loss, but I certainly don't think it's a bad one. So this is a good. I don't think their record is indicate very close to how good Hatch might be. But Thule coming off a nice win last week. The defense played exceptionally well. I feel like the defense has played very well for the Wildcats the last few weeks. So we'll see if they can do it again tonight. And again, I think the excitement of homecoming hopefully make a difference for Thule tonight. Brian.
Yeah, I thought I was looking at the stats on that. It looked like they were pretty evenly matched as far as the scoring and things such as that. But I think the being on the road is going to be a little bit too much for Hatch. I'm going to go Thule.
Okay. Brandon.
I'm excited about all these home games tonight, and I'm going to take Tularosa. Hopefully they come out with a big W on their homecoming.
Tim?
Yeah, I think Thule's really turned the corner. I think they're going to have a good run here into the fall season. So I'm going to go Thule as well, and on a homecoming game especially, that's the time for them to win.
Jake?
Yeah, it looks like Max Preps really agrees with you on the fact that Hatch has kind of had, just a really tough schedule. They're actually ranked 52nd with their 1-4 record, and Thule with their 3-3 is ranked at number 51. So that's indicative that they're definitely a better team than their record suggests. However, Tularosa at home, homecoming, let's get it done.
Yeah, I think that's how I look at it with the Wildcats. I think they've got a tough schedule coming up. This is probably, with the exception of the Tucumcari game, they've got Dexter and Nimi in district. That's going to be exceptions. Even though I think they get both Dexter and Nimi at home, so that's a slight bonus for them. But those are going to be 2 tough games. But I think the Wildcats at home, they'll make it happen tonight. Manny?
Yeah, homecoming for Tularosa, there's mixed emotions about this. If the kids have to enjoy the parade, enjoy the moment, all the distractions, that's fun, that's cool. But once the game starts, they've got to set that aside, and they've got to take care of business. Tularosa will win this football game, and here's why. Because they finish strong. If you look at the stats, Thule gets stronger in the 3rd period through the 4th period. Tularosa at home.
All right. Rivalry game up in the mountains, Cloudcroft and Mescalero. District matchup as well. Cloudcroft 3-3, Mescalero 2-4. Now, we'll say for Mescalero, they haven't beat a varsity team yet. I think that's at least something to point out. Cloudcroft, I think, has a few more impressive wins on their schedule this year. I think they've been a bit more competitive. They had a tough time against Estancia last week, but Estancia, one of the best teams in Class 2A. Mescalero lost to Lordsburg 46-20 last week. Cloudcroft has had the better of this rivalry the last 2 years or so. They beat him, I think, in the regular season and in a playoff game 2 years ago. They beat him in the regular season last year. I think consistency-wise, Cloudcroft has shown a little bit more than Mescalero this year. But I'll go to the end. It's a rivalry game, and we've seen some crazy things in Cloudcroft-Mescalero rivalry games, especially when they were playing 8-man football. They had a wild double overtime game a few years ago that Mescalero won in Cloudcroft. It could go a lot of different ways. Brandon?
Cloudcroft is again having an exciting year. I think this is out of the entire time I've been on the show, I don't really remember Cloudcroft being as good as they are right now.
Yep.
So I'm riding high on Cloudcroft. I'm going to take Cloudcroft on the road.
Tim?
Yeah, this is going to be a good game. I think I went into this I knew exactly what I wanted to do, but to quote Michael Scott, in a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do. So I have no idea who's going to win this game. I think both teams are evenly matched, but I'm going to go out on a limb, either pull away or fall back. I'm going to go with Mescalero.
Was he quoting Wayne Gretzky and then quoting himself as well?
Very good. You're a fan. That's why I do this for you.
Shake.
What's really concerning to me is the fact that Cloudcroft has actually given up 226 points. Mescalero's only done 165. Now, very good point about Mescalero not really playing a varsity team. I think Cloudcroft's going to need to come up with some defensive stops, but I do think that their offense is just going to be lights out. So I'm going to go ahead and take Cloudcroft. We call it a road game, but it's not really a road game, so we'll take Cloudcroft.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll go down and around or if they'll take 244 across. I'm not really sure what's the best way to get there on the bus, but I've never driven 244. I'm a little scared to go on that little road. Yeah. I don't know
it's a great road with a motorcycle. I'm just saying. you can ride with me.
If you want to see some of the biggest elk in your life, drive it at night.
Oh yeah, pass that, a hard pass. That one time I'm coming into Cloudcroft and I saw the elk on the side of the road. It's one of those things you never forget, seeing one of those. I like the Bears. I think their offense is the difference, but I expect Mescalero to stay competitive. I think this is. I don't think Cloudcroft is that much significantly better than Mescalero. Both teams have shown signs of improvement this year, but I think Cloudcroft can, in terms of how much they can score this season, I think they can get that past Mescalero. Manny?
Am I the last to pick on this one?
No, you're next to last.
What are you going to do, Brian?
First.
I have a reason to ask.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I think Cloudcroft's really going to need to get a quick start on this one. I was looking at some of the Max Press stats, and it looks like Mescalero quits in the third quarter. They really haven't put anything else up. So I'm going to go Cloudcroft, start out fast, and they'll just have to finish the game out.
So how many Cloudcrofts do we have?
Everybody's picked Cloudcroft.
No, I picked Mescalero.
Oh, did you pick Mescalero? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, man. You know, Mescalero's part of our community of schools. I hate picking this game. I just do.
Yeah.
And really, I'm not sure which of these two teams is better. But just for fun, I'm going to go Mescalero.
Okay. I like that. It's almost a split there.
I was trying to get to a split.
No, and I think that I think Mescalero. It's hard to pick from their sample size this year. I just, because they're 2 wins over the Rodoso JV and over the Thule JV. It's just hard for me to tell what they'll do against Cloudcroft this year, and who knows. Maybe a who knows game, but I'll tell you what, Centennial's gotten off to a great start this year. They're 6-0. Won a real tight game against Carlsbad at home last week, 35-27. Las Cruces lost to Hobbs at home for the first time since 1968. Now, it should be pointed out that they didn't play in Las Cruces from 1968 to like 2010. So there weren't a lot of games in between Las Cruces and Hobbs in Las Cruces. So it's kind of a fun stat, but it's sort of misleading to say the least. Bulldogs are 3-3, and they've lost to good teams this year. La Cueva, El Dorado. La Cueva's undefeated. They're 7-0. El Dorado's 5-1. Hobbs is I think 5-1 as well. I think their only losses to, or 4-1. Their only losses to Clovis. So no bad losses on the Bulldogs schedule, but I also feel like Centennial deserves some respect for the way they played up to this point in the season. But probably going to be the best game between the Cruces schools this year. I don't know. Mayfield's been a nice little surprise, so I would never say that Mayfield Cruces game at the end of the year is going to be bad, because I think it'll probably be entertaining. Tim?
This is going to be a big game. I think Centennial is going to take it. There's no home team here. Centennial, I think it's their season. I think it's their time, so I'm going to go Centennial.
Jake?
Las Cruces has been struggling with the undefeated teams, and I think they're going to continue to struggle with the Hawks tonight. They're going to remain undefeated and stay ranked really high up there in the state. So,
yeah, I'm going to go Hawks. I think Centennial will get the win. I had a point that I was going to make, and I completely lost it. But I think for Cruces, it's interesting. There almost feels like there's a little bit of a malaise with Cruces High and Mayfield fans in terms of supporting their team. Just from the information that I get, I wonder, for Centennial, with it still being kind of fresh, this is kind of a new thing for, those parents and kids and everybody, that maybe there's a little bit more excitement around that program. They'll see a little bit more support tonight. I don't know if that'll make any difference. I think Centennial's the better football team, so I'm going to go Hawks. Manny?
I can't even spell malaise. I'm not sure I know what it means. But
I'm pulling up Wikipedia right now.
But Centennial's only given up 70 points in these 6 games. They've got a better defense. I'm going Hawks.
Brian?
Las Cruces let me down last week. I was bummed out about that one. So I'm going to go against them just because they let me down last week. That's my whole theory, but I'm going with Centennial.
Strong enough logic for this show, that's for dang sure. Brandon?
Last week I really wanted to go out and pick Hobbs to win. I wanted to, and I just, at home in Las Cruces, that was the difference.
Yep.
And I'm really glad to see it. I'm glad to see Hobbs go into Cruces. That's a big win for them. So congrats to them. I think Centennial wins this game. It should be a fantastic and fun game too.
All right, everybody on the Hawks. They're slightly surprised. I thought maybe somebody would jump out there with the Bulldogs, but yeah, I was with you on that one. With I think we were all wanting to, maybe go out with Carlsbad, go with Hobbs in those games last week, and we were just we were too wimpy to make that. It was the right call for the Centennial game, but not for Cruces. Lovington goes to Goddard. Eastern New Mexico battle here. Lovington lost to Artesia 50-21. They stayed pretty competitive in that game for the most part. Goddard beat a shorthanded Los Lunas team 28-27. I read James Yotis of the Albuquerque Journal, Nick Garland, the starting quarterback for Los Lunas that played so well against Alamogordo. He's out for the year with an ACL. So sad to hear that. He's also not going to be able to play basketball. I think he's also, I want to say he's also a track guy too, or baseball. I can't remember which one. Sad to hear and I want to say I can't remember if it's his senior year or if it's his junior year. I want to say it's his junior year. But anyway, Goddard's 4-0-1. They had that tie at Carlsbad because of the weather, scoreless. The Rockets have had kind of a nice bounce back season. They've had, I think, for their standards, haven't had as good a year as the last couple of seasons. So it's been a nice bounce back for the Rockets. Unfortunately for Alamogordo, because they get to see the Rockets here in a couple weeks, and they get to see the Coyotes, and they get to see the Bulldogs. But still, kind of happy for Goddard. Jake, who you like?
Defense is my theme for the day, and you said they gave up by, I think, 26 points last week. Which is huge for them because after the last 5 games, they're probably averaging about 11 points per game. I think defense takes it on this one. I think Goddard can easily come away with a win.
I like Lovington. I think Lovington's offense can make something happen here against Goddard. We saw them here in Alamogordo. They've got some really talented kids. But I'm going to lean towards Goddard at home. Manny's thing about beating the teams you're supposed to beat, especially in your place, I think that's kind of fits here for Goddard. Hopefully I didn't steal your thunder there, Manny.
No, and I'm going to finish with what normally goes with that first sentence. Yes, this is a 4A going to a 5A house. Lovington goes to Goddard to the Wool Bowl. Beat the people you're supposed to beat. Before I finish, though, both teams make really good halftime adjustments. Both of these teams do. Beat the people you're supposed to beat, especially in your place, and give everybody else hell. Goddard.
Brian.
Goddard.
Yeah.
No logic. Just going with whatever Manny said.
Home team. I think that's a good one.
Home team.
Brandon.
I think Lovington's going to make this a game, but I think Goddard's going to come out on top.
Tim.
So I'm going to quote Dwight Schrute here.
Dwight Schrute.
Considering how everybody has made a pick for Goddard, I'm going to quote him. Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I would not do that. So you guys are not idiots. You picked the right pick. I'm not going to be an idiot. It's going to be Goddard.
Okay. I was like, this is going to turn really dark here in a second.
It would have if one of you had been an idiot. I would have then scrapped the whole thing. If somebody went Lovington, I would have been like, okay, I don't want to call any of y'all idiots. So
somebody's been binging Netflix.
Yeah.
I've been watching The Office.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back, get to our college games for this week. You're listening to the KNMZ Football Roundtable on ESPN Alamogordo.
At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, we are proud of the great high schools in Alamogordo, Cloudcroft, Mescalero, and Tularosa. Our student athletes set a valuable example for everyone to follow. They work hard to succeed in the classroom and in competitive sports and contribute enormous time and energy to bring pride to their schools and community. At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, as we work hard to protect the families and businesses of Otero County, we proudly take pause to follow our student athletes and extend our best wishes for their success every day in the classroom and on game day.
Hi, I'm Pastor Tim Brock, and I'd like to invite you to Christ Community Church, a place to belong, a place to come together, and a place to leave inspired. We have dynamic worship, engaging and relevant Bible teaching, and excellent ministries for everyone in the family. Our worship services are Sundays at 9 and 11:15. Christ Community Church, where it's about relationship, not religion, and where Jesus Christ is Lord. For more information, find us online at christcommunityalamo.org.
Hi, my name is Jake Roberts, and I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker Southern Nelson. Are you looking for your dream home, or are you looking to sell your property and need the guidance to get noticed? I can help you with professional real estate services today. Call me at 575-446-8574 or email me at jake@nmvistas.com. To view a list of our inventory, visit our website at alamogordo-coldwellbanker.com or visit us at 800 Scenic Drive in Alamogordo.
This is Brandon with Desert Sun. I'm not sure if you all know this, but Desert Sun Auto Group consists of 5 dealerships across the great state of New Mexico. This means we have 5 new car departments with over 500 vehicles to choose from and over 200 quality pre-owned vehicles. Majority of these vehicles, when bought from us, are backed with Desert Sun's lifetime powertrain protection. Stop by either Desert Sun Motors or Desert Sun Toyota today and let us help you find your new ride. See our full inventory at DesertSunMotors.com.
Now you have a choice when it comes to keeping massive files of your bank statements every month. With an online e-statement, you'll have an accurate, easy-to-read electronic statement you can access anywhere, anytime. Get more control over your cash flow. And no more giant filing cabinets. Our e-statements get an A+. First National Bank, member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome back to the KNMZ Football Roundtable. On to some college picks for this week. Should mention off the bat, NMSU taking on Liberty at home this week, which I think in their mind they thought was going to be a game that they should win. But Liberty going up to Albuquerque last week and just crushing the Lobos. I know UNM came back in the second half, but it was 42-10 at halftime. Liberty's in its first year as a division or an FBS team, and I don't know. They've got a lot of money going into that program. It's kind of like Grand Canyon sort of thing. So.
Yeah, those two Christian schools have become powerhouses. So that's
there's a lot of money being spent. So
Did Liberty beat UNM?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
And they beat Baylor last year. Remember that?
Did they beat? Well, Baylor was kind of.
I know, but at the time it was like crazy.
Yeah. And I think Liberty's a road favorite going into that game, which I think is probably the right call. And we'll see what the NMSU quarterback situation looks like after a bye week. Okay, as for games that people are going to be interested in, number 5 LSU. I love my alma mater, but it's one of the reasons why I don't put NMSU on here very much, is because I think these games are far more interesting than Liberty and New Mexico State. So, number 5 LSU goes to number 22 Florida. Classic SEC rivalry game here. And we were talking during the break, 2.5 points going to LSU. Kind of surprising that it's that small of a spread there, but Florida's shown some improvement the last couple weeks. Nice win on the road in Starkville over Mississippi State last week. So some momentum, and they're 4-1. Their only loss is to a team that's ranked number 13 that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Tim?
Tell you what, Dan Mullen has done a great job turning this program around. They lost their first game. I thought it was going to be a terribly disappointing season again for Florida. They do need to put up some points, but their defense is the real deal. They're going against another program in LSU that's very comparable to that, defensive-minded. First team to 14 may win, but I'm going to stick with the Florida Gators at home, and I'm on the Dan Mullen bandwagon.
Old school SEC battle is what Tim's calling for. Jake?
Okay, so me and Florida are not friends. All right, when I pick them, they lose. When I pick against them, they win. I'm really, they don't like me very much. So I'm doing Tim a favor, and I'm going to pick LSU to win.
Good.
You're welcome. This is for you, buddy.
I've been going back and forth on this one. I'm going to pick Florida at home. I think LSU's offense scares me. I just think at the Swamp, it's just going to be a tight battle, and the home field I think is what gives it to me for a little bit for the Gators. So I'm going to go Florida. Manny?
Yeah, LSU has defeated Mississippi, Auburn, and Miami. Florida, great win last week, upset win against Mississippi State. Brian, you're doing a great job filling in for Donna. Donna's the other oldest alumni of this roundtable, and she's an LSU person. Unless the Irish and LSU meet down the road, I'm going LSU the rest of the way for Donna.
Okay, there you go. So Brian's probably getting he's getting something from Richard. I don't know if he got anything from Donna on this, but you've got competing folks that will give you some advice on this.
Some competing counsel.
Yeah. Yes, that I do. But being that I gave Richard the Eagles tribute concert tickets for Monday night at the Flickinger, I'm not going with this team. I'm going to go with LSU and Sweet Donna.
There you go. Brandon?
This is, again, one of the toughest games to pick this week. Florida, I did pick them last week. They did come out with a win. Turned out to be a really good game. I think, if I remember right, they won it in the last, at the very end right there. Didn't they? What was the final score?
They were winning, but it was close until the very, very end. I mean, Mississippi State could have scored at the end and won it.
I don't know. I feel like LSU has a little bit more to offer, a little bit more experience. Could be a bad pick, but I'm going to go LSU.
All right. Speaking of the team that's beaten Florida this year, number 13 Kentucky is 5-0. I think they've got Georgia at the end of their schedule. Other than that, I mean, this is a team that's got a real chance to make a run in the SEC this year, which just the idea of Kentucky making it, say, the SEC title game is such a crazy concept. They get Texas A&M. The Aggies 3-2, 6-point favorites at home in this game. It's such a weird one to try to get a hold of there, but an interesting game to pick, to say the least. Brian, who are you liking this one?
Well, I'll tell you what. I went through and I made my pick prior to looking up what the point spread was, and I had Texas A&M, and I'm still going to have Texas A&M, but I think it's going to be the 12th man. 12th man's going to be the deciding factor in this one.
All right. Brandon?
I'm going to go Texas A&M on this. This game scares me, though. It scares me. It's going to be a tough game.
All right. Tim?
What is Kentucky ranked?
13.
13. Well, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Texas A&M.
All right.
Okay.
Jake?
I wasn't expecting that, actually. So Texas is favored in this game, and I kind of think it's a little shocking. Honestly, I think Kentucky's a better team. I think part of that is because of the coaching reunion with Coach Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops was under Jimbo Fisher, if I believe correctly. So Kentucky's off to their best start in about 70 years. I think the student becomes the master. I'm taking Kentucky.
All right. I think this is just a rooting interest thing. I'd like to see Kentucky win, so I'm going to go Kentucky. I kind of like the thought of Kyle Field and the 12th man. I think that probably is going to be a big difference there. But I still need to see a little bit more, I guess, from Texas A&M. Not that the Aggies have bad losses. I think they lost Alabama, and I can't remember what the other one was, but this is probably a pretty even matchup. I think the odds makers usually are pretty close on these. Manny?
This is must-watch football. Must-watch. Kentucky's beat Florida, Mississippi State, and South Carolina. Texas A&M's losses are to Alabama and Clemson. That body of work is pretty impressive. But I think Kentucky's got something going on here. I'm going Kentucky on the road.
All right. Good split there. Red River Rivalry, number 19 Texas, number 7 Oklahoma at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. Nice to have this to be a pretty close game. 7-point favorite to Oklahoma. Texas is 4-1. Everybody wanted to fire Tom Herman at the start of the season. Apparently that's not on the on the slate anymore. Especially if he wins this game, they're gonna love him a lot. So even in years that Texas has been bad, they've managed to keep this game competitive. Oklahoma's been the far more consistent team over the last 10-15 years, but I think it's always good for college football when both these teams are good when we get around to this game. Brandon?
Kudos to Texas. I mean, they've stepped up their game quite a bit. I think the last couple of years they've been, pretty disappointing for what their usual program is. This is a very long time rivalry and exciting to be at. I think AT&T Stadium. Is that correct? Or
no, it's at the old school Cotton Bowl.
Okay, and I can't go against my Sooners. Boomer Sooners, baby.
Yeah. Texas State Fair. I think it always happens during Texas State Fair time. So, Tim?
Yeah, one of the greatest venues, one of the greatest games in the college football season. I'll be pulling for Texas, but I've got to see Oklahoma a few times on TV, and they look amazing. This one always kind of is an equalizer. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma.
Jake?
Tough game, technically a neutral field, but I think Oklahoma travels very well, and it's not that far, so I think Oklahoma's going to show up.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, the quarterback for Texas, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. He's got the same kind of skill set I feel like Kyler Murray does. I think Kyler's probably a better athlete overall, but they both are, that elusive quarterback that can make things happen. But I think just overall, I'm a little feeling safer in picking OU. But I'm hoping for a good game more than anything else. High noon there at at the Cotton. Well, no, actually, I guess it'd be at 11 a.m. their time. So anyway, Manny.
Yeah, Texas' only losses to Maryland. They beat Kansas State, TCU, USC, right? Oklahoma's been impressive, but their body of work has not been that impressive. But I can't take a chance on this one. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm going Sooners.
I have no idea.
It's going to be a fun game.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Texas State Fair is great. Anything they have there, they fry it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's good. So, I mean, you just got to love that stuff. You know what? I'm an Oklahoma fan. I'm going to go Oklahoma. The only thing I have to determine now is if I want to pay the $261 for a ticket and jump on a plane tomorrow and go watch it. It's the only thing. It's the only thing I got to determine right now. And that's in the air. That's up in the air right now.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You know, you could end up in the middle of a bunch of Texas fans if you're buying one of those, as after sale tickets. Which
That's
I don't know.
true.
You might be one of those sports fans that likes to sit in the middle of the opposing fans and have fun with that.
I'm the guy who went to the Cowboys Redskins game in like 1970 something when I was like 8, and I bought a Redskins pennant
So you
just to be that guy. So I started that at 8 years old. I'm still that guy.
still that
You're
guy.
the guy who started it all.
Yeah, I'm the kid.
At least you're not the guy that was wearing the Notre Dame sweatshirt in the middle of the Penn State whiteout.
I saw that.
Oh,
I was like, why are you even at this game? Your team is on TV. I mean, I don't know. Being in that atmosphere, I think I would, not being a Penn State or Ohio State fan, I would go to that game. I also wouldn't show up in my Aggies gear as well, though. So. All right. They probably ask me, is that school in the United States? Notre Dame.
No, they'd say we love Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's probably right. Number 6, Notre Dame goes to number 24, Virginia Tech. Inner Sandman is going to be rocking in Blacksburg coming up on Saturday. 7 points to Notre Dame. Virginia Tech, I'm still a little surprised they're ranked. They lost to Old Dominion a couple weeks ago. It's shocking to me they're still in the top 25, but somebody must believe in them. I'm not sure who, but the people who vote apparently do. Notre Dame with a very impressive win against Stanford last week. They looked great and pulled away. And we're starting to see Notre Dame maybe put their stamp on this season and have a chance to be in the college football playoff at the end of the season, Manny.
Yeah, and I'm hearing about that this is the last big challenge because after that we only have Pittsburgh, Navy, Northwestern, Florida State, and Syracuse, and then USC. I don't buy it. Every game's important. Every game's a struggle, and we got to win this one. I think the Irish have a good chance to win it. I'm going to go Fighting Irish.
Yeah, I look at the rest of that schedule. There's some scary games in there. I mean, USC is not going to be easy. Syracuse, I think, is pretty good. There's a few others. So,
1 day in a long march.
yeah,
One day in a
absolutely.
long
And this one's going to be a tough one, Brian.
yeah. This one was actually getting a little tough for me because I was thinking about being on the road in Virginia Tech. You just never know what's going to happen. Notre Dame may be coming off a little bit of a hangover from last week's victory. But you know what? I'm not going to go against the Irish. Got to take them. Notre Dame.
Brandon?
Virginia Tech can surprise a lot of people, and you can never count them out. I think Irish can win this game. They should win this game, and it should be a fun game to watch. I'm going to go Notre Dame.
All right. I thought for it.
Yeah,
I thought you were going Virginia Tech, man. I was really.
Don't rule them out.
No, I agree.
Rule Virginia Tech out at home.
Yeah, I agree. They fire up Inner Sandman when they come out and all that. It's a pretty cool environment. Tim?
Yeah, I'd love to watch this game. Hokie High, I'd be pulling for them, but dude, yeah, they lost to Old Dominion.
Yeah.
How in the and I've picked against Notre Dame like 3 times, where I'd be way ahead of all y'all. So the Lord is looking down on me with frustration, so I'm going to go with Notre Dame.
Okay. Jake?
Yeah, I think Notre Dame's definitely the team in this matchup, and I don't think it should be too close. Notre Dame's really starting to show that the last couple of years, the legacy that they had before. So I think they're coming back. I think the program's looking pretty good. They'll take this one. Yeah,
I like the way the Irish are playing right now. Virginia Tech, I think, is a question mark, but I do think in their place, the 7 points I think is probably right. That's if we were picking the spread here, I would be really tempted to go Virginia Tech just because of being at their place. But I think Notre Dame's offense and what they've been doing, I think you got to go Irish. All right, old school rivalry here. Florida State taking on Miami. Florida State eked out a win over Louisville last week. They very easily could be 2-3. Miami's nothing special though. They're 4-1. They really haven't beaten anybody this year, and were embarrassed by LSU at the beginning of the season. So neither of these teams provide any major sort of confidence. I think it's in their place. I'm going to go Hurricanes but you know, I could see Miami laying an egg here without a doubt. They just haven't done anything spectacular this year. Manny?
I think the Hurricanes are favored by 13.5.
Yeah,
They are. Huge. Big spread.
Over and under is 48. I would like, personally, I'd like to see Florida State upset them at Hard Rock. I think that would be fun, but I'm going to go Miami.
It would help out your team's schedule as well
correct.
with Florida State at the end of the season.
That's
So, Brian?
I tell you what, though, Florida State, that large of a spread, that's pretty, that got to make them feel pretty down about themselves on that one. They're going to come in playing a little bit tough, playing rough. However, this rivalry, it's old school, it's smash mouth, and Miami's going to come out with this one.
Brandon?
Florida State has actually been a very disappointing season. I mean, what was their record last year? I mean, they had a bad. Their quarterback got hurt at the beginning of the season. I think they went 6-6. And then the year before they were really good. And I don't know. They're not what they normally are. Neither is Miami, for that matter. But I think Miami has this game with 13.5 spread. I think Miami can win.
Tim?
The ESPN Football Power Index has 90% of people going for Miami. 100% of us are going to go for Miami. You don't just move on. There's nothing to see here. It's going to be Miami.
All right, Jake.
All right, fair enough. Well, yeah, Miami, for sure. Yeah, they've been averaging about 44 points a game, and I don't know, Brandon. I actually disagree. I think Miami's looking better than they have in the past because they had slipped off. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Florida State is.
You guys going to fight right now?
No. Florida State is who I was.
Oh no,
going
he
to.
was talking about Florida State.
Yeah, Florida
Gotcha.
State's just not.
Right. So Miami, I think, is looking better than they have in a while. Are they looking great? No, but they're hopefully rebounding. I'm taking Miami State this game though, Miami at home.
Yeah.
That's hedging your bets, bro.
I know.
Miami State.
Yeah.
In the state of Florida.
There you go.
I wait for the record next week and be like, no, I went State.
I think that Mark Richt is turning the program in the right direction. I think he's a good guy to have there. I guess I'm a little bit harder on Miami. I want to see them back where they once were in the glory days.
We ought to cancel the commercials and just roll through the commercials and let the audience listen to what happens here during the commercials. This is the place to be. This is where the fun is.
There you go.
Brandon's about to get smacked down.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to get you back into more of the KNMZ Football Roundtable right after this.
Sometimes you just need a loan. Your daughter Debbie is getting married. Your son Toby needs a new tuba. Let's face it, families cost money. Things come up that you had no way of predicting. We make personal loans for occasions like this to people who have good credit. So next time you find yourself connected to the unexpected, stop in and see us about a personal loan, subject to credit approval. First National Bank, member FDIC. When you grow, we grow.
This is Brandon with Desert Sun. I'm not sure if you all know this, but Desert Sun Auto Group consists of 5 dealerships across the great state of New Mexico. This means we have 5 new car departments with over 500 vehicles to choose from and over 200 quality pre-owned vehicles. Majority of these vehicles, when bought from us, are backed with Desert Sun's lifetime powertrain protection. Stop by either Desert Sun Motors or Desert Sun Toyota today and let us help you find your new ride. See our full inventory at DesertSunMotors.com.
Are you looking to rent or need someone to manage your property? Hi, I'm Jake Roberts with Coldwell Banker, Sudworth Nelson. Did you know that we are the largest property management company in Alamogordo? Whether you are looking for a short-term housing solution or to turn an existing property into a great long-term investment, give us a call at 575-437-1137. Visit our website today at alamogordocoldwellbanker.com or come by and see us at 800 Scenic Drive.
Hi, I'm Pastor Tim Brock, and I'd like to invite you to Christ Community Church, a place to belong, a place to come together, and a place to leave inspired. We have dynamic worship, engaging and relevant Bible teaching, and excellent ministries for everyone in the family. Our worship services are Sundays at 9 and 11:15. Christ Community Church, where it's about relationship, not religion, and where Jesus Christ is Lord. For more information, find us online at christcommunityalamo.org.
At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, we are proud of the great high schools in Alamogordo, Cloudcroft, Mescalero, and Tularosa. Our student athletes set a valuable example for everyone to follow. They work hard to succeed in the classroom and in competitive sports and contribute enormous time and energy to bring pride to their schools and community. At Charles Garland and Harris Insurance, as we work hard to protect the families and businesses of Otero County, we proudly take pause to follow our student athletes and extend our best wishes for their success every day in the classroom and on game day.
There are no roadblocks scheduled today on either Highway 70 or 54 South. For the latest roadblock information, call 575-678-1178. Today's forecast is calling for sunny skies, partly cloudy tonight with a 20% chance of rain in Alamogordo. High of 88, low of 58 for Cloudcroft. High of 70 and an overnight low of 47. For tomorrow, we're looking at mostly sunny skies. In Alamogordo tomorrow, high of 83, low of 59. Cloudcroft tomorrow, high of 67, overnight low of 47.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome back to the KNMZ Football Roundtable. As we head to our pro picks for this week, I should mention we do have Aggies football in the air tomorrow. I know we didn't put it on our pick sheet, and I know I said that it's not an interesting game, but I do encourage you to watch it tomorrow or listen to it tomorrow because I don't think that it is on TV. So Liberty versus NMSU, 5 o'clock pregame, 6 o'clock kickoff. Check that out. All right, Tennessee goes to Buffalo. I put this on the first one so we can just get it over with. Bill's defense was okay last week against Green Bay. Just the offense is about what it had been in the first two games. Just the anomaly of the way they played against Minnesota. I'm impressed with the way Tennessee's played this year. Marcus Mariota's had a nice bounce-back year and had the injury early in the season and has fought through that. I like the Titans. I like Mike Vrabel. I've always been a fan of his. I think the Titans will get this on the road. They're 5.5-point favorites at Buffalo. They'll win it. Manny?
Yeah, I don't know how fun this game will be. Over and under is only 39. Yeah. Tennessee's 3-1, but this could be a trap game. Could be a trap game. It'd be interesting to see how this one comes out, although I will not watch it. Go Titans.
Sorry, Brian.
That's good.
I figured that most of you guys are going to go Tennessee, so I'm going to go the opposite. I'm taking Buffalo.
All right. Brandon.
I will be taking Tennessee.
So I'd like to think there's some kid, in his room with a poster of me, keeping track of me in first place in this whole thing. I think at the end of the day, though, if I'm being realistic, which I try to be, nobody at home listening right now has any idea what the standings are. They've already tuned that out. They're listening. They're just trying to be entertained. I think Buffalo's going to win this game. That is entertaining news. Josh Allen has thrown for 666 yards. That is a bad omen. One pass will change that. So I'm going with Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills at home, because Marcus Mariota is terrible. He's terrible.
He's really not.
He's terrible.
Hey, Jim Kelly's going to be here next week. So we got Jim Kelly coming to Ruidoso.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Now you know.
That's intel right there.
See, that's the stuff. So
what's Jim Kelly doing in Ruidoso?
He's a keynote speaker.
Oh, okay.
Up there. So
very cool. That's pretty neat
Kelly.
stuff.
I know. I'd like to go see him.
Yeah. Jake.
Tennessee.
He's not terrible.
And just like Manny, I won't be watching this game either.
Marcus Mariota's terrible. He's terrible. Yeah, definitely. So Tennessee. So let me make sure Tim and Brian went Buffalo. Everybody else on the Titans in this game.
We're not scared.
Everybody else is going to catch a game.
What's that?
Probably.
That's one that I catch back up.
That could be. Hey, listen, I hope you're right. I mean, I'm always rooting for the Bills, but nothing from last week made me. Especially against Green Bay's defense. Green Bay's defense is not good. So, all right, Dallas and Houston. I'm kind of surprised the Texans are 3.5-point favorites in this game. Cowboys 2-2, and a nice win last week against Detroit. I thought the Lions were going to pull that out. Cowboys take it right down the field and kick the last-second field goal. Houston got a gift from Frank Reich in Indianapolis and were able to win that game. Otherwise, they'd be still winless, 0-3-1 probably. So we'll see what happens with this one. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised at that line a little bit. Tim.
I do not like picking the Dallas Cowboy games. They're terrible on the road. They're terrible passing. They got good defense. They got a good running game. So which one's going to win? I'm going to go with Dallas just because I don't do what you do. I go with my heart. And sometimes my heart leads me astray because the heart is wicked. But I'm going to go Dallas. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Houston wins by a lot.
Didn't you pick against them like either last week or the week before?
No.
I need to go back
I
and
would
look
be
at
way
that.
ahead if I actually went with logic.
I'm fairly certain there was a pick against the Cowboys relatively recently. Jake?
If there wasn't, there should have been. because Dak right now is just not playing very well at all.
He's all right.
He's barely average at the moment. He's just not looking like he did, when he was his rookie year. They need to get Zeke involved a whole lot more if they're going to open up the pass. But again, he really doesn't have anybody to throw to. So I'm actually not super shocked in that line. I'm going to go ahead and take Houston. Dallas has the tools to win, or at least they could get the running back going. But I mean, they need to work on it.
All right. You went Texans or
Texans?
Texans. Okay. Yeah, Houston just there's nothing that really gives me a whole lot of confidence to pick either one of these teams. I'm gonna go with Dallas's defense. I'm gonna go Cowboys in this game. I could really try and pick one up on Tim here, but
Is Sean Lee still hurt?
Yes.
yeah. But I think their defensive line. I think there's enough left on that side of the. They're a different defense with Sean Lee, but
For sure.
my goodness, that guy's hurt. It feels like all the time.
The Cowboys do have
Last
really
couple
good
years,
pass
yeah.
rushing, and
Yeah.
some depth at linebacker.
Yeah, but I definitely can see Houston winning it. The odds makers definitely think so as well. Manny.
Yeah, Dallas has only put up 67 points, given up 77 points. The Houston squad has put up 96, given up 108. Yeah, man. If Dallas can protect the quarterback and run the ball, they should win this football game. I'm going Cowboys.
Brian.
I'm ready for Houston's defense to kind of get things going. They got some great players on there, and they just haven't quite got it done yet so far. But I'm going to use some Donna logic for you. There's a lot of winning going on in Houston right now. The Astros, her son is Bregman's hitting coach. Therefore, it's a Donna connection. I got to go Houston.
Makes sense for me. Brandon.
You know, the scariest thing is which Dallas team is going to show up this week, and I just don't know the answer to that.
Just give Zeke the ball 40 times. I'm tired of you letting Zach throw the football. Come on.
I'm with you there. I just think my heart says Dallas, and that's what everybody else seems to be putting the logic towards. So I'm going to go Dallas. No rhyme.
So your mind is telling you no, but your body is telling you yes.
Hold on. I have yet to hear any logic for that.
No, none of it. Our logic on this show is terrible. None of us have any good logic on this show. Oakland goes to Los Angeles, take on the Chargers. Now, I guarantee there's going to be a lot of Raiders fans there in Carson. Always seems to be that way for the Chargers home games. But I tell you what, the Chargers are solid. 2-2. Raiders found a way to win last week, but there is nothing about the Oakland Raiders that makes you feel good at the moment. Right, Manny?
Raiders have got to get out of their own way. But luckily, this is a home game for the Raiders.
It will be, yeah.
There'll be as many Raider fans in the stands as there will be Charger fans. I'm going Oakland on the road.
All right. Brian?
That wasn't a surprise, Manny. Not at all.
No, I had it marked in before I even got here.
Yeah. Being that the Chargers are heavy spread favorites, I'm going to take the Chargers.
Brandon?
Yeah, I like Chargers as well.
Tim?
I think this is going to be a blowout. Chargers at
All right.
home? Kind of.
Yeah.
Jake?
Raiders are going to get charged up.
I actually think that I agree with Tim. I think the Chargers are going to run this one pretty heavy. I think their offense against... Yeah, I don't think the Raiders' offense can go shot for shot with the Chargers this week. So, all right, Denver goes to New York to take on the Jets. Man, boy, after that first week, the Jets have been really, really bad. Denver, I mean, they've been in every game and probably should have won last week against Kansas City on Monday Night Football. So, this is kind of a tough test, though. You're going from, I know it's not coast to coast, but it's from one part of the country to the other, and pretty far distance from a Monday night game to a Sunday afternoon game. So this is a bit of a challenge, I feel like, for the Broncos. Brian?
Yeah, this one's probably the one that scares me the most. But once again, it's the Jets. So Denver. Jets, Jets.
From mile high to sea level, I think there's a little advantage there, but Denver did play. They hung in last week. I got to give them kudos for that. I mean, Kansas City's the deal, and they hung with them, so I'm going to go Denver.
Tim?
I do think there's going to be a bit of a hangover for the Broncos. Their quarterback play has been terrible. Usually rookies play better at home, so I'm going to go with Sam Darnold and the Jets.
All right. Jake?
I like Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is actually playing better than I think his record shows. He does have some interceptions. He is a rookie. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there, but I think he's got a spark in the Jets that they really haven't seen. even really since Sanchez, even though they were high up on them. But I mean, that wasn't much. They just had this energy there. But that said, I like the Jets at home.
Sam Darnold, say hello to Von Miller. I like the Broncos. Manning?
The corporation guys in the long black cars have this one even, right?
I minus one of the Jets.
I got to pick them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jets, Jets.
All right. I went a little. I'm surprised that was a split, actually. Jacksonville goes to Kansas City. This is going to be a great game this weekend. I think it all depends on what the Jacksonville offense looks like. We know the defense will show up. Another tough defensive matchup for Pat Mahomes and Kansas City's offense. It's at Arrowhead, but I want to say Jacksonville went into Arrowhead and won last year, if I remember right. So this should be a fun one. We got a Chiefs fan here, so we'll let Brian take it.
Yeah, I tell you what, Kansas City. I think they're the real deal. But if you look at the first month, they're really not playing a whole lot of competition outside of the Denver. And then this month, I can see them definitely even going 2-2 this month. This is gonna be their first, in my opinion, real test. Jacksonville scares me. Kansas City's not necessarily a great home team, but I'm going to stick with my team. I'm going Kansas City.
Brandon.
I think being at home is the difference in this game. Mahomes, what a gunslinger that kid is. I mean, he is very much impressed me with what he can do, and I think trying to control him is if Denver couldn't keep him controlled, I mean, it's going to be tough for any team. But this is the test. Jacksonville's defense is probably the best in the NFL, but I think Kansas City wins at home.
Tim?
Yeah, number one defense versus number one scoring offense. Jacksonville versus Kansas City. Went against Kansas City last week. I thought it'd be a tough test for the rookie quarterback in Mile High. Proved me wrong with a frustrating fourth quarter from my vantage point. But I do have Mahomes on my fantasy team. I got Tyreek Hill on my fantasy team, and I got Travis Kelce on my fantasy team. Go Chiefs, and please score a lot of points.
All right. Jake.
Yeah, I need Kelce to score me quite a few points too. So if we could get that done, that'd be awesome. I think Reed and Mahomes are really putting it together this year. Mahomes has 1,200 yards, hasn't thrown a single interception so far. So I mean, that's super impressive for what he's doing. Saxonville is coming into town, so their defense could definitely put Mahomes on his back and maybe make him run around for the first time. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but I'm going to take Kansas City at home. Wow. Born in Kansas City, I got to take him.
I'm just surprised. Jags, man. Jags defense. I'll take defense over offense most days. And just from what I saw last week, I think Kansas City's susceptible, and I think the Jags defense will make it happen. Manny?
Tim already said it. Jacksonville's got the best defense, allowed only 56 points so far. Kansas City's put up 115. That's best in the NFL. But Arrowhead is the best football venue in the history of the world. I'm going Chiefs.
I'm surprised we're the only one who went out there with him. That's shocking to me. Washington at New Orleans. Drew Brees can pass Peyton Manning for most passing yards in NFL history. I think he needs like 200 some odd yards. So we'll see if that happens. Jake, who do you like?
Brees all day long. Washington's coming off that bye. They've got a 13-game stretch. They need this win to keep that high. But Brees has got some amazing weapons, and he'll get it done.
I like Saints. Manny?
200 yards is all he needs, Saints.
Yep. Brian?
Saints.
Brandon?
I'm going to go Saints as well.
Tim?
I think you should have gone Packers-Lions, but I'm going to go Saints because this is boring. 1 point spread, bro. It was a 1 point spread.
I'm sorry. I didn't see it, I guess.
That's
I don't
okay.
know.
That's
Go Tigers.
I guess go Tigers. And I assume that Brandon doesn't want to talk about last night's game a whole lot.
Not at all.
Okay.
Have a good weekend, Alan.
buy a car.
Jake would like to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Hey.
You're listening to ESPN Alamogordo 103.7.
Talk to you guys
New Mexico
next
sports
Friday.
leader, KNMZ Alamogordo.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, coming at you as I love to do every weekday. The number to call, as always, is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Always